Hi everybody and welcome back to another video. Welcome to Smithsdale Farm. Today we're going to give you a tour of the land and show you our little piece of heaven in the Spanish mountains. So come along. We're Danny and Kate. 5 years ago, we left the UK to start a new chapter of our lives together in Barcelona. We've enjoyed the busy city, sunny beaches and the snow-capped mountains, but it's time for a new adventure. We're on the hunt for a piece of land in the Spanish countryside to build an off-grid tiny house and start a homestead. Follow along as we build our dream life together.
So we're off on a little walk this morning, just from the house. We'll go have a look at the state of some of the bancals. So when we say bancals, this is what we mean. It's basically a stone terrace retaining wall. They've been done very well, but some of them seem to be having a bit of rain damage. But you can see how thick they are, and we're going to have to repair a few of them just to help keep the earth back, stop the earth running away in a heavy rain. So we'll take you down some of the bancals so you can see the state of them. They're very overgrown and need a lot of maintenance and work. So from this distance and what you can see on the drone footage, the bancals look, fairly flat and not too overgrown or anything like that. And then when you get there, it tends to look like this: a lot of chopped down brush, tall grassland, and then lots of bushes and shrubs that are, coming up for waist height.
You can see some of it here is really difficult to navigate and get around the land. So we're going to have to find ways to cut back all this overgrowth and be able to actually get round from bancal to bancal. Eventually we want to be able to farm this land and use it to, maybe have some animals or grow vegetables and fruits, etc. So we're going to need to make this much more accessible. The plan is to get kind of a strimmer or something and take back as much as possible of the non-productive things. So obviously not cutting down olive trees or anything like that. And then use this as a way to understand the landscape, what is rocked area, what is just overgrowth, and then we can figure out how to use the land productively. Some of the areas like this are much more clear and not quite so overgrown. So there's definitely potential and we can kind of see that horizon ahead of us. But there's going to be a lot of hard work to make it productive, workable, usable. But obviously it's a long-term plan. It's not something we're going to be able to do in 2 seconds flat. This kind of area here gives us a lot of promise and hope that we're going to be able to work this quite well. Inside some of the bancals, there are these kind of walkway areas that have been created, and usually they're kind of halfway down a bancal or towards the end of a bancal, and they were created so that when people were using things like horse and cart or donkey and cart to actually work the land, it gave them access points around the land to be able to move from bancal to bancal to bancal.
So this here is the rain catchment area for the cisterna. It's a bit overgrown. Normally you keep this nice and clean, and what happens here is basically it's rain catchment. So you've got all this designated space here to collect the water, and then there's so this is the cisterna to the left of me here. There's some channels dug in, and then this is the water entrance there with a little bit of something to stop random bits of brush and things going in. So just to show you the layout a little bit, this is the cisterna here, and then just in the background is the house. So when the cisterna gets full, some of the water actually runs towards the house, which is a little bit of a problem. So we're going to have to change the water channels as well, so we don't have water running directly towards the house when there's a heavy rain. And these bancals here over my left shoulder have much more damage to them compared to last time. You can see up here where the level of the bancal should be and the level of the earth, and then it's just collapsed down onto the ground. There's a little fern tree there that has rocks fallen onto it, so we know that's happened at least since we've been here. And then the last bancal I'd like to show you is the one in front of the house on the downward side. You can see this bancal has had a lot of water as well and has collapsed. This is new, or worse compared to last time we were here. Also up to the left hand side of the house there is where the cisterna is, and so there's like a little water run that comes down, either comes down this pathway or seemingly comes down here as well. So this is the path down what we probably call the left hand side of the property, with the house there. You can see the little tent and the cisterna. Anything to the right of here we think is with us, and anything to the left is belonging to this other property who we've met, and he's a very nice guy. It's very English to want to know the boundary, but we do. And then that's the view across the valley. Well, very misty view across the valley. So the whole plot itself is 8.5 acres or 3.5 hectares, more or less. It's all terraced bancals. What we did find out recently, that was a little bit annoying. So the previous owner wasn't really like the family owner. He seemed to have been an agent that bought the land and then sold it on. And we found out recently that this guy came round and employed someone to chop down all the olive trees. So in a previous clip you might have seen our neighbour's trees, which are really nice olive trees. And then what we've got are these kind of bushy things. And what they've done is they've chopped down all the trees basically at the base and sold the wood. But that now means the trees are not anywhere near as productive as they should be. And it's something we're going to have to learn how to do, and hopefully we can do relatively quickly. He thinks it was 3-4 years ago that the trees were chopped, and a lot of them do have many shoots on. Some of them have olives, but the vast majority this year have not had olives. So there's some heavy pruning that needs going on. So here we're sat at the bottom of the mountain, or the bottom of the valley. What is on the map as a riverbed, or a river. As you can see, it's bone dry. There are some spots without pine needles, which to me would suggest that there's been water movement at some point. We were thinking maybe to do rain catchment at the bottom of the hill, because obviously there's more, should be more water down here than there is at the top. This little valley is connected from 3 more further up the hill. So theory should be it's got a lot more concentrated here, but maybe there's just not enough to cause any kind of overflow or run. There's nothing growing here, as you can see, really. There's a few little bushes and twigs, but there's no grass or anything like that, which means, well, to me it means that it must run at some point, because otherwise I don't see why it wouldn't be full of dirt and ground and soil for things to grow, because the water would push it to here. It's the bottom of the hill.
There's a perimeter that goes around part of the land. It's kind of a main road that takes you up to a small house at the top of the track. That's the end of the track, is the last house. So there's this kind of, it's just a dirt track, you can see. But this is the perimeter of one side of the land. So everything on that side is our property. On this side is another property. This is somebody who's growing olives. And it's quite a clear delineation of where our land begins. So it's easy to know kind of where it starts and which bits are included. Where it gets a bit more difficult is when you get kind of between us and the other property. because at that point there are certain bancals which are theirs and certain bancals which are ours on that part of the mountain. We're not entirely sure which ones yet. It's quite difficult to tell from the land maps, so we need to wait until they come here. They were here in the summer when we bought the property, but we didn't get a chance to kind of introduce ourselves and meet them. So next time we come down, hopefully they'll be here or at some point in the future, and we'll be able to kind of talk to them about, you know, one, what's it like living up here? How do they get water? How do they live on the land here? Did they do the renovation themselves, etc.? But also understanding like the separation between what's theirs and what's ours.
So back on the point of water, what you can see here, so we're on the road at the top, and what you can see there is there's a clear line on the left hand side where water runs down, and at the moment there's nowhere for this water really to run off until it gets down to our makeshift driveway that we made a few weeks back. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of water erosion because you've got the speed of all that hill. So what we need to do is look at making little divergence points so we don't get like a runaway of the soil here, to stop this kind of high speed water causing runoff and erosion.
We're getting towards the top of the perimeter part of our land here, and you can see as it goes down into the valley, there's clear bancals that run through the land. You can see them coming through here, and the stunning view. I mean, even on a day where it's misty and cloudy, you can still see that it's a really beautiful view. So on a clear day, this is just spectacular. So that's it. We hope you enjoyed the tour of our land and our video for this week. If you do have any questions or you'd like to get in touch, please do leave a message below, or you can contact us on Instagram. We've put our handle in the description of the video. We love getting all of your messages and hearing about everybody who's wanting to do similar journeys themselves, so please do drop us a message. We'd be very happy to talk to you about any of our journey, and maybe there's something that might be a helping hand to you if you're thinking of doing something similar. And for now, that's this week's video, and we'll see you on the next one. So, why do we want to leave Barcelona, one of the most amazing cities in the world, and move to an off-grid tiny house in the middle of nowhere in the mountains? Good question.